So you might want to look at that. Also, though, there are others, and so again, in the interest of time, we want to focus on family life. There was a little article as I was getting ready to put this together that was a summary of a book by Massimo Laponi, who I didn't know before but was a Benedictine, called The Rule of Benedict for Family Life Today. And so this little summary that has 6 things that we could do that would change the way our families would look if we would live these. Remember, a little book for beginners, very practical, and here's how things might change. And now Jim's going to talk about it. So first thing that would change is the way that we work together in our families. What would that look like?
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Changes in the way we work. Work would not be given priority over family life. Rather, seeking the balance of ora et labora, which is one of the mottos of the Benedictine family, all would make time to help with household chores and an accepted part of self-sacrifice in service to members of the family. Number 2, change.
Wait. We're going to talk about that.
Well, let me go.
No, I'm going to keep them out and you're going to respond. We didn't practice this well enough. This is how it works at our house.
Yes.
I do what she says, that's how it works.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
No, that's all right.
What is
Ours too.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. So and that's just one example of how work would be shared in the family and outside work would not be given priority. And the example that Laponi gave is the meal times. You know, how often does one or the other say, oh, I'm so tired, and go to the easy chair and leave the cleaning up. And in fact, that cleaning up time, that being together time, could be a very holy time that we share together. So that's one way. Would change the way that we rest. How would it change the way that we rest?
That's my cue. We would enjoy and share movies and games together, not in solitude. Each day would include a period of recreation for the whole family to come together to enjoy a time of communion with God and with each other.
Okay. What do you think about that?
I think it's great. I'm not sure we ever really did it. I think it takes a degree of patience and concentration that's becoming rare in our culture. Our attention span is shortened down to 30 seconds or less, and I think that's a real test of our focus and concentration.
In our family, we always loved snow days because then there were no screens and the board games came out. And we have a deacon's bench, actually, that's full of board games down in the front hall. So I remember a little bit differently. We enjoy the board games. We would change the way we eat. Now, we did do this pretty well.
We did. You did this. We would eat meals together and with other members of the family, not at different times and places, and not in front of the television or cell phone. This is bad. Okay? At meal times would be a time for conversation, for sharing ideas and experiences, and for enjoying each other's company. And I would add on to that laughter. Laughter is good medicine.
Absolutely. And I think the biggest tug here, in addition to television and cell phones, is sports activities. The dinner hour used to be sacred. We didn't schedule games during the 6 o'clock hour, and now our kids are being pulled all over the place at all times. And it takes intentionality to say, we're not going to do it that way. That's our family time. And you have to talk with your kids about it, but it's tough. And we find it tough now that we don't have kids at home. It's harder.
Yeah.
It's harder. Somebody always wants us to join in something, and it's a good thing, right? There are good things to do, but finding time to be together over meals is a challenge. The fourth thing it would change is the way we consume.
We would avoid luxury and superficiality. We wouldn't fill our children's rooms with too many things. We'd provide guidance in the use of electronic devices, very difficult, both for ourselves and for our children. We'd give preference to watching a movie together rather than each one choosing his own show or game on an individual device. We'd reserve time for reading, both alone and aloud, when all electronic devices would be turned off. Shared movies and books would provide the foundations for conversation, reflection, and teaching. I was out to eat the other day, and I saw a family of 6. At one point, they all had their machines out. They were all looking at their machines, and no one was talking to each other. I thought that was very prophetic, and could see myself getting involved in that.
One of the things that happens in monasteries, you may know, is table reading. Our families probably aren't large enough to do that, but the idea is that everyone in the community hears a book together on a regular basis, and it can form the foundation for conversation. Families used to always sit around the fireplace and someone would read a book. I mean, it's not that long ago. Television has done a great deal to destroy that kind of mutuality in family life. And of course, when I was growing up, when most of us were growing up, there was one television. Now there's a television for every person in the household, if not the little thing on the hill. So that's an issue. Fifth thing, it would change our prayer life. Father Matthew talked a lot about this, but
We would include in our family lives a place and time for prayer. It was not so very long ago that the head of each house led his household in morning and evening prayer. The morning and evening offices take more than 15 minutes each.
no more.
No more. Perhaps we could reassign 30 minutes of television time to prayer.
Yeah, like I said, we've had this experience now as the Oblate chapter coming together for morning and evening prayer most days. 15, 20 minutes tops. And it's a recreation of a little family group. We look forward to seeing each other. We don't have to talk a long time, but it's amazing how stopping the workday at about 5:30 and praying just shifts your whole focus. Because I don't know about you, but I would keep working straight through. There's no doubt, and I do. When we're not doing it together, I just keep going, and there's no transition. And the sixth thing it would change is changes to our charity and solidarity.
We would create a welcoming home and work as a family to alleviate the suffering and loneliness of others. We would be sure that our children are put in contact with the most disadvantaged and shown how a Christian responds to need. The rule says all guests are to be welcomed as Christ, who will say, I was a stranger and you welcomed me, Matthew 25:35.
So Deacon Jeff talked about how children just come to his house. I don't know how literal he was, but we've had that experience. We've had 3 children and their father to come to our house and become a part of our family. Of course, we are accumulating grandchildren now, so there's more people coming to our house. But that little family that's become part of our family is part of our everyday life. And it has changed our children, I would dare say. Having, perhaps for the first time, to think about others rather than just our little insular selves has been a stretch. It's been a stretch for all of us. It's tough, but I think, again, if we took time away from our screens and our meetings and our soccer games and talked about how we as a family intentionally are going to reach out to the disadvantaged, our families would look very different. Yes, please.
Okay, putting on the doctor hat for a minute. Jenny was terrified I was going to probably do this, but a little commentary. From the psychiatric, psychological view of things, isolation, at 40 years of practice, isolation is absolutely destructive to the human spirit, to the human community fabric, to the church. And what we see, I think, is almost without exception in my world, a diagnostic criteria of mental illness is isolation. Isolation is not solitude. Isolation is not introspection. And isolation is a withdrawal and an internal collapse. And we see it in community, we see it in families. The really devastating thing about these is that they are not really connective. They are isolating in ultimate impact, okay? So I'm just saying, as a doctor and working in units, psychiatry units in my practice, isolation is destructive. So what Jeff said, what everybody said today, and I want to thank Jenny over all the years of our raising children for keeping our family connected. The Benedictine notion of hospitality, from which hospital comes, by the way, is to reach out beyond itself so the family doesn't become insular, okay, or introspective alone. It is designed to go in order to go out. And the going out is critical, and Jenny has been a leader in our family to help us remain connected. So I want to thank you for that. I'm done.
No, I didn't really
I'm done.
Well, I just wanted to sum it up, perhaps. The Benedictine life was a lay movement. We forget that. So many Benedictines now are priests, but it was lay people, and Benedict was kind of leery about priests. He said, be careful if you let them in. So, and piggybacking on what Jim said, to the sense that we know people who are isolated, who are insular, if we can invite them in an intentional way to create these little cells of prayer. Maybe they only pray together once a week, but reach out and form these family communities. If you're not like we are, if you're empty nesters now without children at home, we can do this. I think that's the best part about Rod Dreher's book. You may not agree with what he says to do, but he's saying we can change this. It doesn't have to be this way. We can create a counterculture, and that's what Christianity's been about for 2,000 years.